Live. All right. Hey, everyone. Looks like we are live. I want to thank everyone who may be dropping by on this Facebook Live. I trust everyone's having an amazing day. And if you could do me a huge favor, if you are here for the very first time for one of our Facebook Lives, type a one, like in the comment below, type a one in the comments so we can actually say thank you and acknowledge you for being here. And the fact that we are now a global community, if you're brave enough, maybe you could even type in your name and the city or the country you're from. So once again, we could thank you for being here. I have a very special guest with me this afternoon, and we're just going to have a very casual conversation about how to help you build and grow your business. This gentleman is the CEO and founder of 24 Virtual. And if you think about, is there ever a time when you missed a phone call, and how important was it to you, and how am I saying right? Like, there was a phone call you just absolutely could not miss. But what if this individual I get introduced to you can solve that problem for you forever? So please help me to welcome my special guest, Mr. Paul Joseph. Welcome.
Thank you, Gordon. Thank you for taking the time to invite me to your show or your podcast, rather.
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. It's a Land for Success. Mm-hmm. It's our Land for Success podcast, Untold Stories. And as you can appreciate, we believe that everyone's got a story, mm-hmm. and their story is so important, isn't it?
Right.
And
100%.
I want to jump right into it. You must have a story, and you got so many different stories. But could you share maybe with us, the folks who are watching, who's Paul Joseph? What's your story? Like, how did you get? Who are you, and how did you get to here today?
I'm Tamil originally, Sri Lankan, born in Sri Lanka. A lot of people don't, when they look at me, they don't think I'm Sri
I didn't know that. If you didn't tell me that, I would have known.
No, nobody does. I never get it. Even as I was growing up, I never got it. So a lot of people think I'm, Caribbean or even like Fijian. I get Fijian a lot.
So did you shorten your last name? Is that what happened?
No. So
it's always Joseph. Okay.
Yeah, it was always Joseph. We take on our father's first name.
Got it. Okay.
In our line of, in our family line. So my father's first name was Joseph. We usually take on our first name. But since my father passed, I passed on his last name to my kids.
Got it.
Right. So my kids have my father's last name, and just continuing with that.
Do you know why I asked that? I have a friend, I won't tell you his real name. We'll call him Bob. Say his name is Bob J. J-A-Y. And he was one of the most successful real estate agents that I knew in the city of Toronto. Mm-hmm. And he didn't look like a Bob J, if that makes sense. Like, I always thought he was from India.
Okay.
And it turned out that his real name was Jara Sarian or something like that. Right? I can't even say it right. He has shortened his name to J-A-Y because he said, Gordon, the community I'm selling in, mm-hmm. I had to change my name in order for folks to want to do business with me.
Right. 100%. Yeah. It's true. It's very, sometimes the names do play a big factor into a lot of our dealings, but it's sad. But at the same time, those who understand your business and those who understand who you are as an individual, I don't think that should be an issue to whether if they want to do business with you or not, right? As long as you're providing the end result, they'll search coming for you.
Amazing. So my apologies for cutting you off earlier. So tell us again, start from the beginning, who is Paul Joseph? Let's get to know who Paul is right now.
Well, my father, we'll start with my dad. He was an engineer in a Greek oil tanker. So we moved around a lot when we were little, when I was young. I'm an only child because my mother had fallen by a well side bathing me when I was young. And when she picked me up, she fell, and then she had spinal cord damage.
Oh no.
So after that, she couldn't bear anymore. So that was most of my childhood, trying to deal with my mom's illness. My mom's still ill, right? So she has developed,
Okay.
water buildup in her knees, fibromyalgia. So I'm constantly, taking care of my mom and whatnot, right?
Wow.
So
So you've been that caregiver for her now.
right,
Yeah.
and even more so during childhood as well, just because she couldn't stand for too long, and she was
Yes.
in and out of hospital for so long, and my father always worked out of town.
Mm,
So we migrated to different countries before I ended up in Canada.
in Canada.
We lived in India for so many years,
Okay.
and then there's a lot of stories that happen in India which I don't want to get into right now. But then I
Okay.
went into Nepal, Thailand, ended up in Czech Republic,
Wow.
Czechoslovakia back then.
So you're not kidding when you said you've been in a lot of places.
No, I'm actually not. It's interesting to see um, during those times how many people emigrated from Sri Lanka and the life path they took to where they are now, just because of what I was exposed to at that time.
Right.
At such a young age, and then, eventually ended up in Germany,
Wow.
crossing borders, walking for, 5 miles,
That's
trying to cross,
incredible.
trying to cross a border, crossing. It's pretty intense in terms of what I was exposed to. And then ended up in France. That's where most of my
Okay.
father's side of the family is.
Okay.
And
Wow.
my mother didn't really want me associating with my father's side of the family, so she sent me to Canada, where most of her side of the family is.
Ah,
And ended up here and did my
wow.
schooling.
So how many
Went
how many
to
how many countries do you think you lived in?
altogether.
Yeah,
I think I would traveled well over 2 dozen countries.
that's incredible.
Yeah,
That's
so
incredible.
I have a lot of exposure to different cultures. I have a lot of exposure
Yeah.
to languages, the adaptability to be able to mix with cultures,
Cultures. Yeah.
right? Right. So I rarely get culture shock,
Amazing. So do
right?
you speak Greek at all?
Greek, no. I
No.
speak at
Okay.
the time. I spoke Hindi, Gujarati, French, Tamil, and English, right?
That's
Um,
incredible.
yeah, because I lived in India quite a bit, and then off to here.
Wow, that's incredible. Here at Lander for Success, we have a theme called Untold Stories, and you
Right.
have an incredible story. And coming up in May, we're going to be launching our first book, Volume
Okay.
1, called Lander
Right.
for Success: Untold Stories. And
Mhm.
maybe one day we'll have the honor of having you becoming a co-author in one of our other series, like Volume 2 or Volume 3. I
Right.
believe
Right.
Volume 2, the theme is going to be from burnout to victory.
Okay.
So that's gonna be pretty cool. So Paul, how did you find out about Landing for Success?
So we launched our business last year, and one
Okay.
of our first agents, she was Tamil, and she
Okay.
was the one that suggested, we should go check out Lander for Success, just because, it was a networking event.
Yes.
So through her is how I was introduced to Lander for Success. And up until then, I wasn't even aware that, LFS had 14,000 members on their Facebook group, right? um,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and growing. So you guys are doing something, right? But
Wow. Now it's like 15.2 thousand. Isn't that
well, there you
crazy?
go.
Yeah.
There you go. So
And growing, like you said.
yeah, so within, I believe within several months, it's gone to that much, because when I essentially looked at it, it was around 14,000. So yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
good.
Well, we're very grateful. We're very grateful for individuals like yourself,
Hmm.
showing up, supporting, becoming members, and now, with the services that you have, being able to help, improve the lives and the businesses of our members. Paul, I was going to just quickly do something here, which I haven't done before.
Sure.
Oh, how do I find this? Actually, I don't know if I can. Here we go.
Okay.
Look at that. So this says 24-hour virtual. So I'm going to come
Right.
back here for a minute. So 24-hour virtual is, tell us a little bit about 24 hours virtual, what you guys do.
So essentially, when I say essentially, it's because we're adding on more services now within the next month. So essentially, we started off as a virtual receptionist company. So whereas we answer phone calls for local businesses.
Hmm.
So when we talk about a service like that, it's very prominent in the United States,
Okay.
but that kind of service is new to a lot of people in Canada.
Hmm.
So when we talk about a service like that, a lot of the Canadian businesses that we approach are a little apprehensive because they don't want to trust a third party with their clients.
Okay.
Right. But once we get through the door, once we prove ourselves, then they realize the value it has, or value add it has to their
Yes.
business as well as their bottom end, because we're saving substantial um, money going out towards having an additional person as a receptionist or additional staff that they don't need.
Right.
Whereas our monthly spend is 1/10 of what they would be spending to have someone answer their phones in-house.
Wow. 1/10.
Correct.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah, so our average spend per, an average size business is between $300 to $500 a month.
Okay.
And that equates to around $6,000 a year. Whereas, you're looking at a agent or a live receptionist, your average salary is between $45,000 to
A year,
$60,000.
easily,
Correct.
right? 45,
Easily.
60,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So we could pretty much do, depending on what you want. But before that, a lot of companies don't know they need us until
Yes.
we're through the door. Right.
Wow.
Or how much they could rely on us. Right.
Yes. Give me an example. Give me an example of a business that, well, let's say use your services. And,
Okay.
folks, if you're watching, this is my special guest, Mr. Paul Joseph from Calgary. You're in Calgary, aren't you?
No, I'm in Edmonton.
Edmonton. I'm sorry. So are you a Edmonton Oiler fan, or are you a
I
Toronto
am actually a Toronto
Toronto
Maple Leaf fan.
Good
I'm
for
a Toronto
you.
Maple Leaf
Okay.
fan.
I don't have to kick you off this call now. No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
no. I am from Toronto, so I'm just here for a while now, but I should be thinking about moving back to Toronto. We'll see.
Awesome. So my apologies again. So who would be an ideal, so who an example of someone that's using your services right now?
So our ideal client is local, small and medium-sized businesses, right?
Okay.
That could be anywhere from, I'll give you an example of who we service, but I just want to touch base on who our ideal client would be. That could be anybody who's in the home services business, home cleaning, painting, restoration, any of that. Professional services like lawyers and accountants. Transportation services like logistics companies, distribution companies, or delivering companies.
Yes.
So anybody that could outsource a phone call to, we could handle as a client. Or if they have a process already set up, we could take on that process. So for example, we just onboarded an intricate client who is a property inspector.
Okay.
So he is a franchisee.
Okay.
Out of Toronto. So we onboarded him.
So a home inspector or a property inspector?
Home inspector.
Home inspector. Okay.
Yes. Right. But he's out of Toronto. We onboarded him. So he wanted us to handle all of his back end work, not just answering his phone call. So all of his back end in terms of booking, giving quotes, and so obviously answering his phone calls, managing scheduling, as well as email management. Right.
Okay.
So I'll give you how we set it up. So what we do is essentially we provide you with a phone number, and you just forward your business phone number to our number that we give you.
Okay.
So whenever a client calls your phone number, it'll automatically be forwarded to us. And then on our agent side, we have a script that pops up that says, thank you for calling XYZ Property Management or Property Inspection Company. How may we direct you today? So our agents already know who the client is calling. So our agents will, answer the phone call as such. So he wanted us to do that. So what we had to do was train our agents on the backend software that he uses.
Right. Okay.
Right. So the backend software is a major software in the home inspection sector. So a lot of home inspectors use that software. So we trained our agent on that, as well as we created a separate email address for him on our end, and then had his main email address forwarded to that.
Okay.
So we manage it as such, and then pretty much have dedicated agents. So we have about 5 agents that are trained on his particular process.
Okay.
So that because you want service from Monday to Sunday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Right.
So we have all the 5 agents trained on this particular software, particular processes, how to handle email, how to handle the scheduling, because he
Wow.
has about 5 property inspectors that work for him.
Okay.
So we have to manage all their scheduling and whatnot, right? So we could handle all that.
Yes.
Because we have a different model than most call centers.
Okay.
Because most call centers, what they do is they have a round robin system. Round robin system is when a call comes in, next available agent answers.
Okay.
But we have a dedicated model, whereas we only dedicate certain number of agents to a particular
Yes.
set of companies, because then it
Okay.
allows the agents to become
Yes.
familiarized with the process of each individual businesses that they cater to.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it creates more of an intimate feel where even the business owners
Yes.
would know, okay, you know what, these are the agents I'm going to be dealing with. So even when there's a question or something pops up out of nowhere, okay, you know what, this is the agent that made this booking. Let me go talk to this person.
Yes.
Right. So instead of whereas a call center where you don't know who the agent is, because
Right.
it's just a random person answering it based on the script that was provided for you or
Right.
to them. Right. So it's a better streamlined system that we created, and a lot of our business owners that use our service, they're really liking it. So
I love that because you answer one of the questions for me, like, for example, for
okay.
myself. So one of my concerns was, look, if I had a virtual receptionist take my calls,
Mm-hmm.
well, what if they don't understand my business?
Correct.
And then they're talking to my clients, and my clients like, oh my goodness, who am I talking to? They have no clue. They don't understand. They don't care about my needs.
Right.
So it seems like you've addressed that.
Well, because that was the number one concern when I essentially wanted to launch or jump into this business is how are we going to differentiate ourselves from all of the call centers out there?
From all the call center. Yeah, I love it.
Right.
So I'm going to play a game here. This is almost like, I don't know, Hollywood Square. I'm going to put you on the spot. Okay, Paul?
There's a new website coming soon. So that's the old website.
Good. This is the old website, right? So let's have some fun here. I'm going to put you on the spot because
right.
here at Landed for Success, we just love authenticity, as you can appreciate. And some of our members here who are really amazing in interviewing. Some of them are really well organized. With me,
Mm-hmm.
it's always off the cuff, right? So,
right.
Some of you ask me, like yourself, oh, okay, what are we going to talk about? And I would say, well, let's wait till we get on here. So you've got a couple of squares here, okay?
Right.
There's so many amazing services you provide. I wish when I was selling real estate,
right,
instead of having a pager that drove me up the wall,
mm-hmm.
I could have had your company
mm-hmm.
handle my calls and book,
correct,
like pre-qualify and book appointments.
Mm-hmm.
That had been
That's right.
amazing.
Book appointments as well as showings, schedule showings and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got so many services: inbound calling, outbound calling. Pick one of these pick any one of these that you think that you would want to share with the folks that are watching on what's one of your favorite services here that you would like to talk about?
I actually all of it as a business.
Okay.
I have to say all of it, but I'll go through each one of them. So inbound calling is pretty much handling phone calls coming into your business. Outbound calling is pretty much, if you want to, if you have somebody that's already booked an appointment, you want to cancel that booked appointment with that client, we call them back and reschedule whatnot. So any outbound calling that has to do with it. Call transfer, we do transfer calls so this will be an example for like a real estate brokerage where you have multiple agents. So one calls comes into the main line. Okay, X agents wants to speak to so-and-so agent, and then we'll do either a warm transfer or cold transfer. That all depends on how the business sets it up. So we could do a warm transfer. We'll call that person. Okay, Mr. So, are you available to take this call? Yes, no. Okay, Paul, no, I'm not. Take a message. Okay, we'll go back to the caller. Okay, Mr. So is not available. Let us take a message. He wants us to take a message, whatever. Right?
I love that on both sides, because how many of us can relate to calling a number and you get a voicemail, you can't talk to a real person.
Right.
So here they're talking to somebody on your staff, which is a real person.
Mm-hmm.
And on the reverse, if I'm on a golf course, I don't want to take a call either.
Correct.
That's beautiful.
Right. 100%. 100%. That's what I
Yeah,
said. Like a lot of businesses don't understand how much they could appreciate the service until we're through the door.
I
So
love
until
it.
then, they're on the fence, right?
Yes,
Call screening could be, if you get a lot of solicitation calls. And by the
yes.
way, we don't charge for solicitation calls or wrong numbers,
Okay, nice,
right?
nice.
So
Yes,
all of that's included in your package.
because I'm
Uh,
thinking, oh my goodness, it's going to rack up my bill, like all
no,
these,
no.
right?
So if you're getting,
Some guy from India is calling me about
yeah.
taxes.
100%. So we don't charge for that because it's not fair. Because we're a very ethics driven company. I myself and my business partner, we're very ethics driven. So that's very important
Good.
to us, and that we're very transparent with the things that we do. Qualifying leads. So for example, if you are a property management company, you have a set of questions because if you're qualifying a tenant. You could give us the list of questions. We will call the tenant and be like, okay, these are the questions that to see if they pass, and then we'll forward that onto our client. Taking
Amazing.
messages, pretty basic. Scheduling appointments could be anything. You pretty much provide us with a scheduling link,
Okay.
and we would go on there and book it for you. Book your scheduling, book your appointments, manage your appointments. Event registrations. This could be post COVID, where you have an event where you need us to like book tickets. Handling live bookings. Any of that sort.
Talk to me about that, because let's say here at Landing for Success,
Mm-hmm.
Paul, we have obviously now online events. And
Right.
we, prior to COVID, we would have live and in-person events, and let's cross our fingers that we're going to get back to that really soon as well.
Right.
So talk to me about how, because a lot of in our Landing for Success community, we have authors, we have speakers, we have folks that have webinars, workshops, live events. Let's talk to me a little bit more about that. How, because I think that there could be folks in our community that could be saying, yeah, I want 100 people to attend my next event.
Right.
And I don't want to have to be sitting here taking calls all day, explaining
Correct.
stuff to them. So walk me through that process again.
So we like to set up something called minimize your output, right?
Okay.
If we have to repeat certain information,
Yes.
we would put that on an IVR. So
IVR.
is a interactive voice response. It's like,
Okay.
Sometimes you call a bank, you get that message, press 1 for this, press 2 for this.
Yes.
Right. So if it's a repetitive message, we rather put it on the IVR so
Okay.
that if people are listening to the message and they want to, they don't need a live person, that would save you money.
Okay.
Right. But if they do want to, carry on and go book a ticket or whatnot, then they could use the live option where they could speak to a person, and then the charges begin. Right. So we separate it like that. We have a school who's also, she's a member of Landed for Success. So we have it set up like that where her clients could hear these automated messages.
Yes.
So that they don't have to speak to a live agent if those messages already relay the information that they're looking for.
Yes.
Right. So it at the end is essentially saves their money in the long term. So in the same sense, if there are any event registrations where, any members want to take a part in, we could set up something like that. And then once the caller decides, okay, you know what, it's time for me to book, then we could, proceed with the booking, as well as, follow-up calls, as well as, payment processing, however you have it set up. And then we'll just pretty much take over that process and then carry it forward for you.
That's absolutely amazing. Wow. I love that. Whose idea was that?
I don't like to take credit, but yeah, it was worked up a while ago. So
No, I think that's amazing. So event registration, process orders. Okay.
So processing orders is pretty much for e-com businesses or any other businesses where they need order processing.
Yes.
So for example, we have a company where they give us access to their backend.
Okay.
And then we pretty much see how much they have in stock, if it needs to be ordered in, or if once the caller calls in, and then we just process the orders as such.
That's amazing. I like this one order tracking, especially, with COVID over the last year, like how many of us have ordered something that I want to know, is it coming? Is it not coming? Right.
Right. So for that one, we have a national client
Right.
that does final mile deliveries for Amazon all the way from Windsor to Montreal.
Okay.
So we do their after hours order tracking calls. So we pretty much handle, the calls coming in to their business about tracking orders, and they give us access to their backend. They pretty much created a user profile for us.
Okay.
And then all of our agents that are handling that account have access to it. And then every time a call comes in, we just go into their backend software, put in the tracking information, and give the caller live update.
Wow. Paul, I'm very impressed here because when I first heard about your services from Jay and then from Tammy,
Right.
I was thinking you guys just took phone calls.
Answering service.
That was it, right?
Yeah.
You're just an answering service.
A lot of people think that, because that's why I was saying this kind of service is very prominent in the States and it's very new in Canada.
Yeah. Would you say we're always about 10 years behind the US for some reason?
In terms of, yes, because a lot of people are very also reluctant to, like, as I said earlier, right? Reluctant to try something different.
Something different.
Something to make their life easier. And even us, like ethnicity wise, we are reluctant to let go of control.
Right. Of course.
Right? So especially even in my community, I'm sure even in your community as well.
Of course.
Like the penetration level is that much harder.
Yes.
Just because of that, the need to control, right?
Wow.
But once they realize, the outsourcing model is probably will save them so much time at the end of the day, so much money over a course of, we're not talking months, we're talking years, right? If somebody used our service, for 5 years, they're saving almost, $200,000.
I'm thinking it's not even just the saving in time. From what you're describing to me, is as an example, we have a lot of clients that are financial planners.
Right.
So there was a system, a pre-recorded system like what you talked about, where people can call in, get their questions answered, and says, "Oh yeah, I would love to book an appointment with this individual to learn how I could actually save for my retirement."
Mm-hmm.
That's not just a time saver; that's a moneymaker.
100%.
Wow.
Right. It's another lead gen a lot of people don't tap into. A lot of people just want to, attach their marketing money to online lead gen, right? But there's so many different lead gens. One of the lead gens is being able to answer your phone call when a client calls, because you and I, we both know that, if I'm calling a business and that person doesn't answer, what am I doing? I'm going to the next person that's going to answer.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I'm not waiting around until you decide when it's the best time for you to answer, right? Because when in a society where it's instant gratification, I want it
now, right?
I want it now.
Yeah.
I want my
if I can't talk to you, I want to talk to
Nope.
somebody else.
Somebody that's ready to talk to me. And that's where the mindset shift comes in, a paradigm shift, so to speak.
Yes.
Where we have to instill that kind of thought process into our business owners, in Canada.
I love it. Talk to me about accounts receivable. Like that's another one that's blown me away. Like how many of us like have money sitting? I don't have any money.
Right.
And it's just sitting there.
Right.
And then maybe we're afraid to pick up the phone and call to get that payment.
That's just it.
I mean, you're not a collection agency, are you?
We're not. We are not a collection agency. We pretty much call the client to see if we could set up a better system for them to pay the account, or send a gentle reminder, or give them options to pay. If it's $1,000 bill, okay, you know what? Let's break it down and give us $333 every month.
Right.
For 3 months and have your month paid up, right? So a lot of these business owners are reluctant and scared, or they don't want to be in a position where they to offend their client.
Yeah. I like that, Paul, and I've experienced it, and sometimes it's not only does the client get offended,
right,
but then they play the victim road.
100%.
And refuse your calls and so on. So if there's a third party that could get them to even have that conversation, like you were saying, and perhaps come up with, hey, how about if you don't have the money, instead of running away from me and bad mouthing me,
Correct.
what if we could come up with 3 payments over the next 3 months?
Yep.
Like we suggested, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow.
It works, right? So instead of going through a collection agency, they go through us because then you're not burning any bridges.
Right.
Right. So once you go through a collection agency, now you just burn that bridge between yourself and that client forever.
Wow.
Right. So we're the mitigator
I like that.
in that middle ground where, you know what, there's no animosity here, but at the same
Yes.
time, we're friendly. Be like, oh, there's a friendly collection group of people.
And you
out there.
maintain that relationship, right?
100%, 100%.
Wow, that's brilliant. So accounts customer survey. That's interesting.
Customer survey. So a lot of businesses that are e-com as well as motor businesses, they want to follow up with their clients on the service that they received.
Okay.
So instead of sending a virtual, or I should say
text or something, right?
Or text or email survey, they give us a script or questions to do customer survey. So this could be implemented in 2 stages, or either of the stages. Is we have the option of doing the survey right after the call.
Okay.
Or we could do a standalone survey where we're just focusing on outbound calling these clients that the customer has serviced, and then following up with the survey that they provided us, and then give them a breakdown of the outcome.
Love it. I like this one, after hours answering.
Yeah, a lot of companies, they just think their business is over 9 to 5. As business owners, you're never 9 to 5. Customers will call you, if it depends on what kind of business, right? And it's seasonal too. So for example, now we're in the tax season.
Yes.
Right. So a tax preparer or an accountant, so to speak, are not going to just have their phones on 9 to 5.
Right.
So this is where we come in, where we have the option. So we have 3 options. So let me just touch base. We could be a straightforward, dedicated answering service for your business. So your morning opening to end.
Yes.
We could be a overflow answering service where if your receptionist doesn't answer after the 3rd ring, you could set it up with your phone system that it automatically comes to us.
Okay.
And the 3rd one is the after hours.
Yeah.
Right. So after hours, if after 5 o'clock you don't want to go into voicemail, you could send it to us till about 9 p.m., 11 p.m., whatever you want it, right? Where you think your clients are going to call. Yeah.
So that's kind of cool, because now when I think about the real estate industry, I can call a real estate office and it's after hours.
Right.
And they'll say, well, I can take your name and who are you calling? I'm looking for Paul Joseph. Okay. Paul, can I take your name and number? And I can ask them questions. Well, sorry, we're just the answering service, but I can page Paul for you right now. So go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll wait.
So is that one of the services you provide?
It is, but we don't disclose to them that we're an answering service.
Okay.
So think of us as an extension to your business.
So they'll always see you as part of the company.
Part of the company.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Because we don't want to differentiate, because that kind of creates a little bit of barrier between the caller and us. Right. Because if, we always want to maintain the position that we're part of the business, and we train the agents as such.
Right.
So we train the agents to get familiarized with the business, to go over the business's website, to learn as much information as you can from the website, from the FAQ section, from all the onboarding instructions that are presented to you. So that in itself, when they answer the phone calls, they don't just behave as okay, you know what, though I don't know that answer to that. I'm just an answering service. Let me get back to you. It's more like we go through all of the scenarios during our onboarding process with the client. So we know, because we already know what kind of questions certain industries are going to get.
Yes.
So we ask these questions to our clients and force them to answer so that we can mitigate the need to say we don't know.
Wow. That's incredible. Wow. Well, Paul, thank you so much for taking the time. There's so much information that that you just shared with us on what a virtual receptionist can actually do for someone's business.
Mhm.
Again, I'm going back to when I was in the real estate days. I wish I had the service, because all day you're waiting for someone to call you as an agent, and like, where's everybody? No calls from clients, no listing calls, no. And then just when you're ready to sit down for dinner with your family,
That's when you,
boom,
yeah.
right? Or just when you're ready to blow out the birthday candle for your mother-in-law's birthday party,
Mhm.
that's when, oh, excuse me, I got to go take this call.
Right.
And usually the call is just a waste of time, right? Like, you go check on the call and it wasn't urgent.
Mhm.
I can see the stress
100%.
that you guys are taking out of a situation like that.
It is. It is. It's actually a very helpful service, so to speak. Right. The people that use our service, they're very blown away by how much time they've taken off their plate or added to their plate, so to speak.
Yeah.
So even clients that we talk to, that we onboard, they're just surprised that we're able to do certain things, right? As the
Yes.
misconception goes, oh, you're just an answering service. No, we're not just an answering service. We're a full back-end support service.
Hmm.
Right. So, which is possible, right? And like you said, with a lot of realtors, they don't realize how much that service, $100 or $200 more a month could save them that 5 to 9, that important time with your family.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all you need, 5 to 9, right? Because nobody's
Yeah.
really calling you after 9 o'clock, right? So that 5 to 9, when you get off work, you go home, you sit down, trying to take a shower, trying to eat, spend time with your
Yeah.
family, right? So if you're bombarded with phone calls, and most phone calls are just based on, okay, can we have a showing tomorrow? Can we
Yeah.
book up this showing tomorrow? Why can you not pass that on to somebody else who's trained in your business to answer those calls for you and to book it
And book
for
it.
you without you having to answer the call?
Yeah.
Right? Release that need for control.
Book appointments, book appointments, book
That's
appointments,
it.
book appointments. I love that. Love that. I was just, a friend of mine just moved to a place called Manila, Ontario.
Okay.
When they first said Manila, I thought, oh, they moved to the Philippines. Then I saw that it was Manila, Ontario, and they bought this beautiful church that they renovated into a house. So, Paul, I thought, oh my goodness, maybe I should retire in Manila, right?
Mhm.
And thinking real estate prices is going to be, it's got to be like cheaper, right, outside of Toronto. And I just went online, like, I saw some houses like 829, 1.5 mil, and like,
Oh, wow.
wow, like realal estate prices are everywhere. It's gone up,
Right.
right? Even outside of the GTA. So, for the folks who are watching, if you're a realtor, you sell $1 million home at 2.5 points, that's 25 grand.
Yes.
You know how many minutes you could chew up with somebody like Paul's company?
It's a
Right?
it's a hard sell for realtors, because they're self-employed or sole proprietary, right? So for them, it's when they're in a business for themselves, it's that I want to be able to handle my own phone calls. I want to be able
Any
to.
phone calls, right?
Right.
Let me run an idea by you. Let's brainstorm a bit. I want to put you on the spot to
All right.
see what your response is. So our folks who are watching can say, okay, is this guy as sharp as I think he is? Should I hire him? A friend of mine is a realtor. Okay.
Okay.
So let me see if I can grab this. And we just helped him write and publish this book last year. It's called The Accidental Real Estate Millionaire.
Right.
And so a number of years ago, he was like upside down and in debt. And he literally did accidentally started buying real estate. He's made millions as an investor.
Okay.
And as an agent, his team sells about 150 to 200 homes a year.
Okay.
Okay. So the Accidental Real Estate Millionaire, we started with a book
Right.
to use it as a lead gen.
Okay.
So now what we want to do is give away a copy of the book.
Right.
And then when they receive a copy of the book, we want to let them know that there's actually a course that they can attend at Landed for Success
Right.
to learn how they can now become an accidental real estate millionaire. Is that
Okay.
cool?
Yes, it is.
So we want to be able to do something like that, Atlanta for Success, where we can run a program, allow individuals to download this book for free,
Okay.
get some information, and then if they're interested, now they can actually book a free ticket to attend a accidental real estate millionaire workshop.
Right. Right.
So let me put you on the spot.
Okay.
What kind of campaign would you run for something like that?
So
What would you help? I guess like what would you be able to do to help us answer those calls and put more people into the workshop?
Okay. First, I would see what kind of volume you're getting in terms of your free copies, right? So what's your lead gen volume? So
Okay.
if you're getting say 50 to 100 lead gen a day, and
Okay.
let's just so to speak, right? Then obviously we would need dedicated agents, because there's so many things you could do on a multitasking level. Answering phone calls and being on the phone are none of those things, because answering a phone call and calling somebody, you need 100% attentiveness, right? You
Yes.
cannot multitask while you're doing, texting is a different story. You could text and do other things. But when you're
Yes.
answering a phone call, you have to be 100% dedicated.
You got
So
to be there, right? Because you're,
100%, yes.
yeah, you got to be there for that person you're talking to.
Yes, right.
Presence.
So yeah. So because of that, I would definitely set up a dedicated campaign with 2 to 3 agents that are fully trained on the business itself, which
Yes.
is to understand what the process of the book is. Okay, what does the book teach you?
Yes.
Right. So there's no point in me selling or trying to lead qualify somebody
Yes.
if the agents that are calling don't understand what the book is selling.
Right.
So we would train the agents on the process of the book. What is the book from A to Z?
Yes.
From that point onwards, we would follow up with the leads that are coming in through your book outlet.
Yes.
From that point, we'll follow a script that you provide us.
Okay.
That script could be a lead qualifying set of questions. Did you receive this book? Yes, I did. Did you enjoy it? Yes, we did. Are you looking at, possibly multiplying your revenue
Yes.
in real estate investing over the next 1 to 3 years? Yes, I am. Okay, we have a workshop coming up, which is free of charge. Are you interested in attending? Yes, I am. Okay, fair enough. What is your email address? Let me forward this link to you, and then make sure they attend the workshop. Post workshop, we will call them back. Did you enjoy the workshop? Yes, I did. Are you interested in a course that the presenter is providing to you? Right now, we have an introductory offer of $299, but it's only limited. So you have to sign up with me right now. If not, at a later date, it's going to be higher. Are you interested in signing up right now? Yes. FOMO, a fear of missing out. Yes, I'm going to sign up right now. Okay, no problem. $299 later, signed up, follow-up process. Did you enjoy the course? Sure. Now next comes the next follow-up funnel, which is a higher price point. That could be a dedicated one-on-one session,
Yes.
whatever systems you guys have set up, right? So we could set up all that scenario for you, pending all the scripts are provided.
Yes.
We train our agents on the processes. You give us availability to whoever's the lead on that project, so that we could
Yes.
pick their brain, so that we could train our agents.
That's absolutely incredible. Wow, you've given me so much food for thought, and I hope the folks that are watching the same as well, because Paul, there's a lot of digital marketers out there who are doing extremely well because they do have lead generation campaigns,
Right.
but they also have folks that are dedicated to make the calls on the phones
Mm-hmm.
and actually help answer questions and close the sales.
Right.
And that's why they're so successful.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are others out there who buy these courses from folks like that, and they think, well, if I just copy them and spend money on ads, the sales are automatically going to come. No, it's because they have proper follow-up and follow through.
Yes.
And one of them is having the right individuals to help with those phone calls.
Yeah, 100%.
And it sounds like that's something that you guys can provide as well.
Yeah, most definitely, right? Lead generation is something we do provide. The only thing that we do not do is cold calling and telemarketing, right?
Right.
Because we don't want to position our business as such, right? Because cold calling takes a lot of resources from our end.
Yes.
because you have to have dedicated agents, and the return on investment is not, sometimes it may not be up to par with the expectations of the client, right? So we don't want to be in that position where, that take on that side of the business. So we're everything else but cold calling.
Wow. That's absolutely amazing. Awesome. 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 Well, Paul, thank you so much. Really appreciate taking the time to be here with us. I've got a couple of quick questions for you just to finish off here, kind of put you on the spot. You okay with that?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm all
Okay.
right.
So one of them is, Paul, what's your favorite color? What is one of your favorite colors?
My favorite color, pink.
Pink. Okay.
Pink. threw you off, eh?
Yeah. Why pink?
I honestly don't know. I've always liked pink. I wear pink shirts. So it's I don't know. I'm just a different guy. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just
nice. Nice. Well, there you go. So pink is your favorite color. What about ice cream? You have a favorite ice cream?
Yes, black cherry.
Black cherry. Yeah, I like black cherry. And last question, Paul. If you could, right now, this very second, if you could wave a magic wand, okay, and do one thing for you, for Paul, not for somebody else, because I know you as a leader, as a business leader,
right?
You're always thinking about what can I do for somebody else, especially your clients. What can I do for my clients? What can I do to help them? But if there's one thing you could do for Paul Joseph right now, wave magic wand, what would you do?
What would I do for Paul Joseph?
Yeah.
Paul would probably want to be on a vacation right now.
Nice.
That's pretty much it. Just want to be able to, go back home. I went back home a few years ago after 33 years.
Wow. That's
Right?
like a
So
lifetime, right?
it is, right? So after 33 years, I went back home once, and everything has changed. Just want to be able to have that similar experience again. So going back home is, it's pretty much on the top of the list for me.
Awesome.
I ended up building a house for my mother. Well, we had a property, so we ended up like rebuilding it. So she's back and forth with that. So be able to go back, that'll be nice. That's like the only thing right now, just the traveling aspect of it.
That's amazing. Amazing. Well, I hope that happens for you soon, for all of us, right?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So before we go, you have attended our online virtual speed networking events, and we actually have one coming up this Thursday. I posted the link on here, so anybody who's here watching, there should be a link somewhere where you can actually go click on the link, register. It's a free online event. Get a ticket and come and join us. What are your thoughts about
your networking event?
Your experience that you've had with it?
So I'll tell you, from the time I joined, you've had 4 events.
Okay.
I've only attended once, but I've been a sponsor every event.
Wow.
So I'm a virtual sponsor. So so I see the value in it.
Yes.
To be able to sponsor without actually attending it.
That's amazing.
So that's how much I see the value in it. That's how much I appreciate the event. That's how much I appreciate what you guys are doing in terms of reaching out to the community. And I see the effort from each and every one of you that's part of your team. So I'm one of those that sit back and watch what they do, not what they say kind of guy, right? So yes, you could be rah-rah on social media or online, but then sit back and you watch, okay, are these guys actually putting in the effort? Are these guys actually doing what they say they're going to be doing? So, you guys are very structured. You guys have your regular section. And one thing that impresses me the most about you is you're always live dropping nuggets, right? For free. And, it takes a different kind of breed to be able to do that without expecting anything in return, to be able to give, right? So I do appreciate that about you a lot. So that's one of the reasons why I do, I chose to stay with LFS, because, if I don't like it, I'm not one to stick around.
Stick around, yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm so glad you stuck around.
No,
So
thank you.
great to have,
Thank you.
somebody like yourself and the value you bring to the rest of our LFS community. Any final thoughts before you go?
Not final thoughts, but we are ramping up our services.
Okay.
I don't know if you recall, we had a conversation a few months back as to how we could pivot. So I
Yes.
took your advice on it. So we are going with the um, business phone system. So auto attendant, follow me, find me, follow me, all of that. So
That's
we
amazing.
are going to be launching our own voice over IP managed system.
Okay.
So yes, there are many voice over IP systems out there, but they're not managed.
Okay.
Whereas, once you set it up, you want to change something, the business owner has to go and do it. So
Right.
with our model, we partnered up with one of the bigger voice over IP providers, and then we pretty much manage your back end. We set up everything for you, and then manage it consistently throughout over the course of you remain with us. And
Man,
then
that's amazing.
we're also implementing virtual assistants. So standalone virtual assistant, not virtual receptionist.
Okay.
So virtual assistants where they will be dedicated just to your business. So you
Okay.
can choose them based on the hours needed. So they're on
Okay.
an hourly basis. So, and one thing I want to be straightforward is just to keep the cost low for the clients.
Yes.
We partnered up with a headhunter out of the Philippines.
Okay. Okay.
So all the virtual assistants right now, so we are going to be implementing North American virtual assistant, but that's at a later time. But to keep the cost low for our business owners during COVID, we partnered up with Filipino agents. So the very criteria we have for them are, most of them are double degree holders,
That's amazing. Wow.
right? So they're smart. They're pretty much, depending on what the business needs are, then we will do our training and see which agent will be qualified, or which attendant with assistant will be qualified for your business, and then pretty much put you together and then go from there.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. So that's a product that everyone could be looking forward to help really make their lives and their business more efficient and more profitable. So once again, my special guest here from 24 hour,
Virtual.
24H virtual, Mr. Paul Joseph. So if you guys want to reach out to him, leave a comment, DM him, or let us know Landing for Success. We're more than happy to connect you together with them. And I guess we look forward to seeing the Leafs and the Edmonton Oilers in the playoffs here.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. And Paul, thank